And now we will learn how to set the preferences in the Preferences window. What are preferences? Well, they're the defaults, the settings, the options. Basically, it's the automatic behavior of the file until you specifically change it. Some preferences are for convenience, but some preferences are necessary to activate the features of the software that landlords need. The first preferences we'll change are the ones just for convenience. For example, QuickBooks gives us a warning message if we record a transaction with a date far in the future or far in the past. It's trying to help us out with the warning, but we don't want the warning. We know what we're doing when we put different dates. So that will be the first preference that we change. To open the Preferences window, we click Edit, Preferences. Notice on the left are the different categories of preferences. Notice you can scroll up and down to make sure you can see all the categories. Notice when you click on a category, the panel on the right changes, and each category has both a Company Preference and a My Preference tab. First, we'll click the top category, Accounting. Then click Company Preference. Now, we want to remove these check marks by clicking on them so that QuickBooks will not warn us if the transaction is more than 90 days in the past or more than 30 days in the future. Click OK and you have saved the preference. Now let's tell QuickBooks that we don't want it to remember the open windows inside QuickBooks by changing the desktop view preference. From the main menu, click Edit, Preferences, then click Desktop View. Now, we don't want to save the open windows inside QuickBooks. It'll take too long to boot up. So we click Don't Save. Now, click OK to save the preference. You could jump to another category and then click Yes to save the preference, and then you would be in the other category. The next preference we'll change is in the General section. We want to shut off all the pop-up ads that happen as we use QuickBooks. So it just so happens we're already in the General section. So just click the check mark here, turn off pop-up messages for products and services. What else will we change? Reports and graphs. We want the reports and graphs to refresh automatically. So we click Reports and Graphs, click Yes to save the other category of preference, and then click Refresh Automatically. That means if a report is open when we record a transaction, that report will automatically be updated. Now, the first preference that we really need to change as a landlord is to make sure we can record tenants' deposits as directly deposited to our bank account. In order to do that, we have to click the Payments section, click Yes to save the other category of preference. In the Payments category, we click Company Preference and remove this check mark. This check mark is here to tell us that when we receive money, it goes first into this undeposited funds account before it goes to the bank. But in our case, we get many payments from tenants that are directly deposited to our bank account. So by removing this check mark, QuickBooks will enable us to do that. And the last required preference we will change are the billable expenses to tenants. You see, automatically, or you could say by default, it's the category way at the bottom, scroll all the way down, Time and Expenses, mark all expenses as billable. Remove that check mark. Sometimes we will bill the tenant, but we don't want the check mark coming up for every expense we pay, so we click to remove it and click OK. Congratulations! You've changed all the preferences you need to set up your company to be able to finish the rest of the course. Having set these preferences, the rest of the course will go more quickly and smoothly.